Women now hold 40% of senior leadership roles globally, a remarkable increase from 20% just a decade ago. In Fortune 500 companies, the number of female CEOs has tripled, and in political arenas, women presidents, prime ministers, and cabinet ministers have reshaped national agendas. This seismic shift signals more than a policy change. It reflects a profound transformation in collective gender dynamics and the psychological underpinnings of leadership. Yet the rise of female leadership cannot be understood solely through sociological or economic lenses. Carl Jung's depth psychology offers an essential framework for grasping how unconscious forces, specifically the Anima and Animus archetypes, drive the evolving roles of women in power. In Jungian theory, the Anima represents the feminine principle within the male psyche, while the Animus represents the masculine principle within the female psyche. Both archetypes dwell in the personal and collective unconscious, influencing attitudes, behaviors, and relationships. Historically, cultural norms demanded that women suppress their animus qualities, assertiveness, decisiveness, strategic thinking, in favor of stereotypes of nurturing and passivity. Conversely, men were encouraged to deny anima traits such as empathy and emotional attunement. This strict gendered split fragmented individual psyches and impoverished leadership models, which relied heavily on either purely masculine or purely feminine approaches. As societal crises grew more complex, from global pandemics to climate change and socio-political upheaval, traditional, hierarchical leadership styles proved inadequate. Organizations and nations required not only strategic clarity and decisive action, but also collaboration, emotional intelligence, and holistic vision. Jung's concept of wholeness suggests that integrating both anima and animus within each individual yields a more balanced, adaptive approach. By stepping into leadership roles, women have embodied the integrated self that Jung envisioned, a self capable of uniting strength with compassion, intuition with analysis, and creativity with structure. The rise of female leadership thus signals a broader movement towards psychic balance. Women who embrace their animus qualities break through the unconscious injunctions that once kept them from power. They model a new archetype, an integrated leader who can hold complexity, articulate vision, and cultivate connection. Their animus manifests in clear communication of goals, resilience in the face of resistance, and innovative problem-solving. Simultaneously, they leverage anima traits, emotional attunement, relational empathy, and inclusive collaboration to build trust, inspire teams, and foster sustainable outcomes. This integrated leadership archetype addresses the glaring shortcomings of one-sided models. For example, leaders driven solely by animus may prioritize efficiency at the expense of team morale, while those led exclusively by anima may struggle with decision-making under pressure. By uniting both principles, female leaders exemplify decisiveness tempered with empathy, strategic foresight grounded in human values, and goal orientation balanced by relational dynamics. This synthesis aligns with Jung's vision of individuation, the process of becoming whole by reconciling conscious attitudes with unconscious potentials. Consider the career of a corporate executive named Maya. Early in her career, Maya internalized societal messages that women should lead through consensus rather than authority. She excelled in team building and communication, but felt uneasy when required to make unilateral decisions. After studying Jung's Animus theory in a leadership development program, Maya recognized her discomfort as a shadow of her undeveloped animus. She began deliberately cultivating assertiveness, practicing decisive language, setting clear boundaries, and owning her strategic visions. At the same time, she maintained her natural empathy, ensuring that her team felt heard and supported. As Maya integrated both principles, her effectiveness soared, projects succeeded faster, turnover decreased, and innovation flourished under her balanced guidance. Maya's example illustrates how unconscious archetypes shape leadership capacities. Jung argued that archetypes emerge in life themes. They can empower or limit depending on integration. The rise of female leadership thus reflects a collective shift. Women are reclaiming their animus, while society increasingly values anima qualities. This shift does not mean women become masculine in stereotype. Rather, they embody the full spectrum of human potential, transcending outdated binaries. Their success invites all leaders, regardless of gender, to integrate archetypal energies for more holistic governance. Moreover, the proliferation of women in leadership accelerates cultural change by modeling individuation at a societal level. As female leaders enact integrated decisions, they reshape organizational cultures to value collaboration and innovation equally. Their presence challenges challenges unconscious biases that equate power with traditionally masculine traits. This cultural ripple effect encourages men to reclaim anima qualities, emotional literacy, relational depth, thus rebalancing leadership norms across genders. Importantly, Jung emphasized that archetypal integration is an ongoing process. It requires continual self-reflection and creative engagement with unconscious material. For women in leadership, this means sustaining practices that honor both anima and animus. Regular reflective rituals, journaling strategic insights alongside emotional check-ins help leaders maintain balance. Peer support groups and mentoring networks provide spaces to explore challenges specific to integrating masculine and feminine energies in professional contexts. As the world confronts unprecedented challenges, the rise of female leadership should not be seen merely as a demographic shift, but as an unfolding of a deeper psychological evolution. Jung's theory illuminates how the anima and animus interplay, and how their integration yields leaders capable of guiding organizations toward resilience, inclusivity, and vision. By recognizing and cultivating these archetypal energies, individuals and institutions can harness the full potential of leadership capacities, transcending limitations of past paradigms. This narrative opens the door to an exploration of Jung's anima-animus theory in greater depth, the ways gender balance fosters wholeness, practical exercises for integration, and ultimately an empowerment call for emerging women leaders. The journey ahead promises insights into unconscious dynamics and actionable steps for embodying integrated leadership in the modern world. At the heart of Jung's psychology lie the archetypes of anima and animus, universal psychic patterns that represent the feminine principle within the male psyche and the masculine principle within the female psyche. These archetypes reside in the collective unconscious, shaping attitudes, behaviors, and relationships long before individuals become aware of them. In the context of female leadership, understanding anima and animus reveals how women integrate traditionally masculine qualities and transform leadership culture. Jung described the anima as a living, dynamic figure, an inner image of femininity projected outward by men. Conversely, the animus appears in women as an inner masculine image, influencing their thoughts, decisions, and social roles. These archetypes are not mere gender stereotypes. They encompass psychological functions essential to wholeness. The anima relates to feeling, intuition, and connection with the body, while the animus relates to thinking, logic, and assertion of boundaries. When these energies remain split or repressed, individuals, and by extension, societies, suffer imbalances. Historically, cultural expectations confined women to anima-dominated roles, nurturing, emotional support, and relational labor. The animus in women was labeled unfeminine or aggressive, leading to its repression. Ambitious, assertive women often faced social backlash, accused of abandoning their natural roles. At the same time, men were rewarded for animus traits, decisiveness, authority, strategic vision, while their anima qualities, empathy, vulnerability, intuitive wisdom, were disparaged as weakness. Such rigid divisions produced one-sided leadership models, privileging hierarchy over collaboration and rational efficiency over emotional intelligence. The rise of female leadership challenges these outdated splits. Women stepping into executive and political roles inevitably activate their animus, claiming authority, setting visions, and making strategic decisions. This emergence disrupts unconscious biases by demonstrating that animus qualities are not the exclusive domain of men. Female leaders harness analytic skills, assertiveness, and goal orientation in ways that complement rather than negate feminine strengths. Their success illustrates Jung's premise. Individuation, the process of integrating unconscious potentials, yields richer capacities for action and relationship. Consider the case of Anima, a chief technology officer who initially struggled to assert her strategic vision. Comfortable with collaborative brainstorming and empathetic team management, Anima's strengths, she hesitated to make controversial decisions or enforce strict deadlines. After learning about the Animus, Anima recognized her reluctance as a shadow of her underdeveloped masculine principle. She began practicing decisive communication, stating project timelines explicitly, assigning responsibility authoritatively, and defending her proposals in executive meetings. Over time, her Animus integration allowed her to lead innovation aggressively, while preserving her natural ability to foster team cohesion. Anima and Animus also shape how women experience leadership challenges. When Anima encountered resistance from skeptical board members, her anima-driven impulse was to soothe and empathize, risking compromise of strategic goals. By engaging her Animus, she adopted a more analytical stance, presenting data-driven arguments, managing conflict assertively, and establishing clear performance metrics. This balance of empathetic listening and firm direction exemplifies the archetypal integration Jung advocated. Yet integration goes beyond conscious adoption of traits. It arises through active engagement with unconscious imagery. Jung proposed techniques such as active imagination, dialoguing with inner figures, and dream analysis to access archetypal energies. Female leaders may encounter animus figures in dreams as stern, authoritative men challenging them to speak up, or as symbolic gates demanding mastery of rationality. By exploring these images, women can transform unconscious blocks into conscious strengths. For instance, Maria, a non-profit director, dreamed of a silent judge towering over her, rendering verdicts in cold tones. Initially terrified, Maria resisted exploring the dream. After studying Jung's archetypes, she recognized the judge as her own animus, imposing rigid standards of logic and detachment. Embracing the image, she dialogued with the judge in active imagination, asking what insights it wanted to share. The judge revealed that Maria's excessive empathy sometimes clouded her organizational judgments. Armed with this awareness, she developed workshops that honored community voices while implementing clear decision-making frameworks. Her dream work allowed her animus to guide without overpowering her inherent compassion. Jung also identified projection as a mechanism by which individuals unconsciously attribute anima or animus qualities to others. In organizational contexts, women may encounter male colleagues who project their own suppressed anima onto female partners, expecting emotional nurturing or relational labor. Conversely, female leaders who deny their animus may project unwanted aggression onto other women, blaming them for systemic challenges. Recognizing projection helps leaders disentangle interpersonal conflicts and respond rather than react. True gender balance for wholeness arises when both anima and animus energies circulate freely within individuals and organizations. Women integrating animus enrich leadership with strategic clarity and boundary setting, while men integrating anima bring emotional intelligence and collaborative spirit. Companies that cultivate both principles in development programs and corporate culture create environments where diverse leadership styles thrive. Mentorship initiatives pairing women with male allies who value anima traits foster mutual individuation, breaking gendered splits and accelerating collective growth. The psychological transformation unfolds not in abrupt bursts, but through gradual, intentional work. As female leaders claim their animus, they must also tend to unconscious resistance, inner critic voices from the shadow that echo cultural stereotypes. A woman should not be too ambitious, or emotions have no place in serious decision-making. By identifying and reframing such beliefs, women destabilize internalized norms that once hindered their advancement. Leadership training programs can incorporate Jungian exercises, guided imagery of animus figures, journaling conversations with these figures, and reflective sessions on how anima qualities influence leadership interactions. Such practices equip leaders to harness both archetypal energies, promoting wholeness and authenticity. Over time, integrated leaders demonstrate a style that transcends gender norms, strategic decisiveness imbued with empathy, visionary courage grounded in relational care. As the global leadership landscape evolves, Jung's theory of anima and animus remains profoundly relevant. The acceleration of women into leadership roles drives collective individuation, reshaping organizational cultures to reflect balanced archetypal energies. By understanding and integrating their inner masculine and feminine principles, female leaders not only transform their own capacities, but catalyze broader shifts toward inclusive, adaptive, and visionary leadership in the 21st century. The integration of anima and animus within individuals fosters a new paradigm of leadership balanced by complementary qualities. In Jungian theory, the animus in women supports rationality, assertiveness, and boundary setting, while the anima in men nurtures empathy, intuition, and emotional attunement. When women assume leadership roles, they often draw upon their animus strengths to overcome historical constraints. Yet those same leaders who neglect their anima dimensions risk replicating one-sided models of authority. Genuine gender balance for wholeness unfolds when leaders, regardless of gender, integrate both archetypal energies, cultivating a style that combines strategic vision with relational intelligence. Many organizations today remain locked in outdated binaries, masculine-coded metrics such as profit and productivity dominate boardroom discussions, while feminine-coded values like collaboration and well-being receive lip service at best. Female leaders who embody integrated leadership challenge these divisions. By exercising animus through clear decision-making and unwavering accountability, they assert strategic direction. Simultaneously, they employ anima through active listening, consensus building, and attention to team dynamics. This integrated approach addresses complex challenges more holistically than either archetype alone. Take the example of Clara, a global non-profit director overseeing relief operations in disaster zones. Clara's natural empathy and anima strength enabled her to connect deeply with field workers and affected communities, gathering nuanced insights into local needs. Yet initial attempts to manage scarce resources failed until she consciously invoked her animus, instituting rigorous logistical protocols and decisive allocation strategies. By balancing empathy with strategic rigor, Clara's team delivered aid more effectively, earning the trust of both donors and recipients. Moreover, integrated leadership fosters psychological safety. Teams led by individuals who model both compassion and clear standards feel empowered to voice concerns, innovate, and learn from mistakes. Such environments cultivate resilience, as employees perceive their emotional experiences as respected rather than suppressed. Jung's concept of wholeness implies that an organization guided by integrated archetypal energies can adapt and thrive amid volatility by harnessing diverse strengths. Gender balance at the systemic level also requires addressing unconscious prejudices that favor extreme animus or anima qualities. Leadership development programs can incorporate assessments of archetypal bias, encouraging participants to identify tendencies toward rational detachment or over-empathic accommodation. Through reflective exercises, leaders become aware of default patterns and learn to invite the complementary energy when needed. For instance, a leader prone to domineering displays of animus might practice empathy-building exercises such as perspective-taking dialogues. Conversely, a leader inclined to avoid conflict might cultivate assertiveness through role play and declarative speech practices. Jungian thought underscores that true wholeness involves honoring both light and shadow, masculine and feminine, within each person. Women in leadership who reconcile their animus with anima become living embodiments of Jung's individuation process, contributing to cultural evolution. Their presence challenges male-dominated structures to soften rigid hierarchies, while urging women's networks to enhance strategic assertiveness. This mutual transformation accelerates collective individuation at organizational and societal levels. Furthermore, integrated gender dynamics support more ethical and sustainable decision-making. Anima qualities such as future-oriented imagination and systemic empathy remind leaders of long-term consequences and interconnected impacts. Animus qualities such as logical analysis and goal-oriented planning ensure that visionary ideas translate into actionable plans with measurable outcomes. The interplay of both archetypes generates solutions that prioritize human well-being alongside operational efficiency. For example, in corporate environmental initiatives, male executives often champion sustainability targets, anima-driven vision, but lack mechanisms for implementation. Female leaders who embrace animus integrate those visions by establishing cross-functional teams, setting performance benchmarks, and securing budgetary commitments. Their dual orientation ensures that ecological goals are both visionary and executable, reflecting a balanced archetypal integration. The rise of women in traditionally male-dominated fields, technology, finance, politics, offers fertile ground for integrating anima and animus at scale. As women claim seats at decision-making tables, they activate animus potential while also inviting organizations to value anima contributions. Metrics expand beyond productivity to include well-being indices, employee engagement, and community impact. Leadership models evolve from top-down command to participatory co-creation, blending analytic depth with relational density. This transformation benefits men as well. Male leaders observing integrated female role models find permission to develop anima strengths, such as emotional literacy and collaborative leadership. As a result, leadership culture shifts from binary to integrated, encouraging all genders to embody wholeness. Jung's vision of a collective unconscious evolving toward balance becomes tangible in corporate policies, educational curricula, and global governance frameworks. However, integration is neither automatic nor effortless. It demands intentional practices and organizational support, mentorship pairings that cross gender lines, leadership retreats that explore archetypal dynamics, and performance reviews assessing both strategic outcomes and relational fluency create structures for sustained growth. Regular reflection sessions, individual and group, help leaders notice when they slip into one-sided behavior and invite the complementary energy back into play. Ultimately, gender balance as wholeness signifies more than numerical representation. It embodies integrated leadership that transcends outdated splits, enacting a unified approach to complex challenges. Female leaders who harness both Animus and Anima serve as catalysts for broader psychic integration, shaping cultures that value holistic success. As organizations and societies continue evolving, embracing Jung's archetypal insights into gender dynamics offers a path towards sustainable, inclusive, and innovative leadership. Women leaders seeking wholeness can employ Jungian practices to integrate Anima and Animus energies, fostering balanced leadership. 3 core exercises: active imagination, dream work, and creative expression offer pathways for engaging unconscious archetypes and cultivating inner wholeness that translates to authentic external authority. Active imagination invites dialogue with inner figures representing Anima or Animus. Leaders begin by entering a quiet, focused state. Eyes closed, body relaxed, attention inward. They call forth an image of their Animus, perhaps an authoritative figure in tailored attire, holding a clear agenda. Instead of suppressing this image, the leader addresses it aloud. Who are you, and what do you seek? The inner figure may respond with fragments. I seek clarity, I enforce structure, or I challenge your hesitation. The leader continues the conversation, asking probing questions. What stops me from making bold decisions? Or how can I integrate compassion into my strategic vision? This evolving dialogue yields insights into unconscious blocks and potentials. By documenting the interaction in writing immediately afterward, leaders capture the Animus's guidance and create a bridge between unconscious wisdom and conscious action. Dream work complements active imagination by revealing archetypal imagery in nocturnal narratives. Leaders keep a journal beside their bed to record dreams upon waking, noting details, characters, settings, emotions, and symbols. Over time, patterns emerge, recurring images of gates, bridges, or mythical guardians pointing to Anima dynamics. For example, a leader might repeatedly dream of a bridge collapsing, symbolizing difficulties integrating analytical rigor and relational attunement. Reflecting on this symbol, the leader asks, which aspects of my Anima or Animus feel unstable or divided? Journaling responses fosters conscious recognition of needs, perhaps the need to strengthen communication channels or to ground strategic planning with team input. Periodic review of dream journals reveals shifts in archetypal themes, indicating progress in integration. Creative expression provides embodied access to unconscious energies without the filter of rational thought. Women leaders carve out time for art, movement, or writing exercises centered on leadership themes. One powerful practice involves painting 2 canvases simultaneously, one using bold, structured strokes, Animus qualities, and the other flowing organic patterns, Anima qualities. Leaders allow the brush to move intuitively, without judgment. After the session, they compare the canvases, reflecting on how each expresses distinct energies. The structured canvas may reveal areas where tactical focus shines, while the fluid canvas highlights spaces yearning for emotional resonance. Leaders identify where the 2 energies can merge, perhaps by designing strategic plans, infusing team well-being metrics, or by leading meetings that prioritize both efficiency and psychological safety. Writing exercises also serve as catalysts. Leaders compose a dialogue between their Anima and Animus voices in separate columns on a page. In the Animus column, they declare strategic goals, project timelines, and decision criteria. In the Anima column, they note emotional impacts, team morale considerations, and relational dynamics. Reading the completed dialogue aloud highlights tensions and synergies, guiding leaders to craft integrated statements. We will pursue this project with clear milestones while prioritizing open communication and team support. This combined commitment honors both archetypal energies and guides concrete leadership actions. Embodied practices such as dance or movement therapy deepen integration by engaging bodily intelligence. Leaders attend classes in improvisational dance, allowing their bodies to move in unfiltered response to music. The resulting motions may feel rigid at first, then gradually open into spontaneous expression. Reflecting on movement patterns reveals how leadership style manifests somatically. Rigidity may signal over-dominant Animus, while fluid avoidance may signal Anima over-dominance. By consciously exploring contrasting movement qualities, shifting from controlled marches to free-form waves, leaders experience the dynamic interplay of archetypes and internalize the balance between structure and flow. Mentored group workshops create supportive contexts for these exercises. Peer circles of women leaders gather in confidential settings to share active imagination dialogues, dream journal excerpts, and creative artifacts. Partners rotate as listeners and witnesses, providing empathetic feedback and highlighting blind spots. Hearing others' integrations of Anima and Animus normalizes the practice and fosters collective individuation. Leaders learn that inner work is not solitary but benefits from communal resonance, where archetypal energies are reflected and amplified respectfully. Integration also requires ongoing rituals that reinforce archetypal balance. Leaders may begin each day with a brief dual-focus meditation, 5 minutes spent alternating attention between breath and core values, affirming both strategic clarity, I lead with vision and decisiveness, and relational depth, I lead with empathy and authenticity. Weekly integration check-ins prompt leaders to journal responses to questions such as, where did my Animus drive show strength this week? And how did my Anima express care and intuition? This reflective practice keeps integration alive amidst the demands of leadership. Finally, leaders are encouraged to apply integrated insights to real-world decisions. After engaging in an active imagination session exploring assertiveness, a leader might use the Animus's guidance to champion an innovative but risky initiative. Concurrently, referring to Anima insights, she ensures the team's emotional readiness by convening supportive dialogues and addressing concerns. This dual application exemplifies integrated leadership, decisive action informed by emotional intelligence. Jung emphasized that archetypal integration is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong journey requiring patience and creativity. By routinely practicing active imagination, dream work, creative expression, communal sharing, embodied movement, and reflective rituals, female leaders can weave Anima and Animus energies into a unified leadership persona. This wholeness not only enhances personal fulfillment, but catalyzes cultural shifts toward inclusive, adaptive, and visionary organizations, realizing Jung's vision of an evolving collective consciousness. Female leaders who integrate both Anima and Animus energies stand poised to reshape cultures, inspire future generations, and elevate collective success. Empowerment begins with embracing one's full psychological spectrum, claiming strategic authority, and nurturing empathy in equal measure. This final section offers an actionable call to leadership rooted in integrated wholeness, inviting women to embody their archetypal strengths and catalyze lasting change. First, recognize the power of conscious choice. Each leadership decision offers an opportunity to align Animus decisiveness with Anima attunement. When setting organizational priorities, articulate clear objectives, revenue targets, product milestones, policy reforms, while simultaneously soliciting team input and addressing emotional impacts. This dual approach ensures initiatives are both visionary and grounded in human needs. By repeatedly practicing integrated decision-making, leaders reinforce a culture valuing both results and relationships. Second, cultivate environments that honor psychological diversity. Implement mentorship programs pairing women with male allies who model healthy Anima integration. Encourage reverse mentoring, where senior leaders learn empathic listening and collaborative skills from emerging women leaders. Create forums for open dialogue on unconscious bias and archetypal dynamics, normalizing discussions about leadership styles, emotional triggers, and shadow work. Such initiatives foster mutual individuation, helping organizations leverage the full range of human potentials. Third, commit to ongoing self-reflection and growth. Embed regular rituals, quarterly retreat days, monthly peer coaching circles, or weekly reflective journaling, focused on analyzing leadership experiences through the Animus lens. Leaders might review boardroom interactions. How did they express authority? When did they practice empathy? What tensions arose, and how were they addressed? Documenting these reflections highlights integration progress and areas requiring attention, empowering leaders to fine-tune their approach continuously. Fourth, model integrated leadership visibly. Authentic embodiment invites others to follow. Celebrate both achievements and vulnerabilities in public forums. Share stories of strategic successes alongside lessons learned from listening failures or emotional missteps. Demonstrate that wholeness entails embracing imperfection while striving for excellence. When staff observe leaders owning mistakes and inviting feedback, psychological safety safety deepens, and teams engage more fully without fear of judgment. Fifth, leverage creative expression to sustain integration. Encourage cross-disciplinary collaboration. Invite artists, storytellers, and designers into strategic workshops to infuse projects with Anima creativity. Host idea jams where participants brainstorm without critique before transitioning to analytic evaluation. By alternating phases of free-form ideation and structured planning, organizations mirror the Anima-Animus dynamic, unlocking innovation while ensuring feasibility. Sixth, embed integrated metrics in performance assessments. Traditional KPIs focus on quantitative outcomes, sales figures, efficiency gains, market share. Complement these with qualitative indicators, employee engagement scores, client satisfaction narratives, team cohesion feedback. Balanced scorecards that encompass both numbers and narratives reflect an integrated leadership vision, motivating teams to value data-driven achievements and relational well-being equally. Seventh, advocate for systemic change. Use integrated leadership platforms to shape policies promoting gender balance and psychological wholeness. Support policies that fund leadership development programs, emphasizing archetypal integration. Sponsor research on Animus dynamics in organizational success, and champion inclusive governance that reflects diverse archetypal energies. By influencing institutional norms, female leaders can extend their integrated approach beyond individual teams to entire industries and societies. Finally, nurture the next generation of integrated leaders. Establish scholarships, training grants, and fellowship opportunities for women at early career stages to explore Jungian psychology, leadership practice, and shadow work. Partner with educational institutions to incorporate Animus curricula into business and public policy programs. Mentorship networks connecting seasoned integrated leaders with emerging talent ensure the wisdom of wholeness is passed forward, creating a legacy of balanced leadership. The psychology behind the rise of female leadership offers more than demographic shifts. It embodies a collective movement towards psychic wholeness. By integrating Anima and Animus energies, assertive strategic clarity fused with empathetic relational depth, women leaders not only break glass ceilings but reconstruct the very foundations of leadership. Their empowerment invites all individuals across genders to pursue individuation, the lifelong journey of reconciling conscious intentions with unconscious potentials. As the world navigates unprecedented complexity, the demand for integrated leadership has never been greater. Female leaders who accept this call harness archetypal wholeness, guiding organizations and societies toward resilience, innovation, and genuine human flourishing. The time is now to embody integrated power, lead with both heart and mind, serve with both authority and compassion, and inspire with both vision and vulnerability. In doing so, women leaders will not only rise, they will transform the landscape of leadership for generations to come.